We start with pay-to-play in Texas. Michael Isikoff is NBC News national investigative correspondent, and Wayne Slater is, of course, senior political reporter for the Dallas Morning News. I want to start with Michael, who's been working this whole story. Let's go straight to some alleged pay-to-play examples from Governor Perry's time in office. He's been in the office a long time, in the office of governor in Texas. Texas home builder Bob Perry gave $2.5 million to Perry's gubernatorial campaigns. What did he get? The entire state agency was created down there, the Texas Residential Construction Commission, to restrict, that's the purpose of this agency, lawsuits against builders over defective homes, which happened to be Bob Perry's personal crusade. You get what you pay for. Dallas billionaire Harold Simmons gave Perry $1.1 million. What did he get? A license for a controversial nuclear waste dump in West Texas, owned by Simmons Company. Texas accountant George Brent Ryan gave Perry over $927,000. What did he get? Well, nearly $1 million in tax rebates for his company through an Economic Development Board grant. Well, there you have it. It looks to me like there's a pattern. We've seen this in cities in this country. A lot of big cities play this game. You give money to the politicians, you get what you want. Developers do it. Right. They do it. It's crooked as hell. But when you're running for president, can you defend it? And is this going to be a part of this guy's problem?
One of the things that happened during the debate that was interesting is when Michelle Bachmann, and actually maybe it was her interview on the Today Show the next morning, referred to crony capitalism. She introduced an issue that into the mainstream political dialogue that has plagued Perry and swirled around Perry during each of his most recent gubernatorial campaigns. This is a charge that Democrats have brought against him time and time again. They've tried to get traction on it. But, you know, there is to some extent in Texas and in many southern states this whole pay-to-pay culture. And so it's not a completely new allegation. The question with Perry is, how far did he take it? Does it go beyond the norm?
Why is the norm okay? Why is it okay to bring a guy into the White House who makes a habit, has grown up in a political culture where if you want to even meet the governor, you got to go to the fundraiser. Right. Unless you go to the fundraiser and kick in some way, you don't get to meet him. And if you want to get action, you got to give big money. Right. Why would the American voter, Republican or Democrat, that's pretty cool. Why would they say okay to that?
Well,
are they just cynical?
Look, it's certainly an issue that taps into public revulsion with the way government does business.
How can you run against government when you've been selling government?
Right. Look, that's you're writing ads for the Democratic National Committee if Perry becomes the nominee right there with lines like that.
What they like about government, it's a great way to make money.
But these, there are some pretty eye-popping examples, and we picked out 3, but there's like dozens of more, and I'm sure Wayne can talk to them because they've been amply reported in the Texas press. You have no limits on contributions in Texas. You have these huge donations from people like Bob Perry, and then you get
You're an investigative reporter, response. But you know the political context of this. You've already mentioned it. Are the people around President Obama, the smart guys out in Chicago and in Washington, are they looking at this?
Absolutely, as is every major news media organization right now. And it's something we're going to be hearing time and time again throughout the campaign.
I think we're trying to figure out who this guy is because he does look attractive on certain levels. Let's go to Wayne Slater. You know the appeal of this guy. He's got that cocksure attitude. He seems to know what he's got a plan. Cut taxes, cut regulation, cut government. The economy is going to go crazy. Wayne, talk about this guy's behavior as an elected official. Is he a guy who deals with insiders who pay to play?
Yes. The quick answer is absolutely. That has been his history. That is the rap against him. We've written an awful lot about these various deals. And the ones, as Mike said, the ones you mentioned are just the tip of the iceberg. There are a whole range of these. A lot of people have done very well. But here's what's different right now. If I go to Chicago in the old Daley years, nobody's shocked that somebody gets a contract if they support the local ward boss. But Perry, riding a Tea Party wave, which Sarah Palin reiterated yesterday, said this crony capitalism is a bad thing. We aren't part of giving public money, taxpayer money, to our friends. That's the wrong thing. This is the wrong year for Perry to be shown, and it's going to be an extensive record before this is all over, to be shown as a guy who has done everything he can, really, for the political folks who have given him not just hundreds of thousands, but millions of dollars.
Okay, great point. Were you surprised that he was so wrong-footed, as the Brits say, to come out and say, you think you can buy me for $5K? I'm more expensive than that.
Yeah, that's the the punchline of the joke. Well, we know what you are. Now we're quibbling over price.
Yeah, it was the old line about a hooker or somebody. Yeah, I know the gross old line. Yeah. But it reminded everybody, men and women who work with me, I said they remembered the old gross joke, too, when they heard him. It's like saying, I got a price, but it's higher than $5K, therefore I'm clean. What?
All right, here's the backstory.
Let's take a look at this, because people weren't watching that night. Let's watch him. Okay. Here he is Monday in the latest debate. These debates are fascinating, by the way. The president will watch these debates, even if he says he doesn't. Here he is deflecting criticism about his financial ties to this company, Merck, that manufactured this vaccine. He had the girls in these public schools had to be immunized with. Here he was criticized for mandating those girls having to take the shots. And here's his defense.
The governor's former chief of staff was the chief lobbyist for this drug company. The drug company gave thousands of dollars in political donations to the governor, and this is just flat out wrong.
The company was Merck, and it was a $5,000 contribution that I had received from them. I raised about $30 million, and if you're saying that I can be bought for $5,000, I'm offended.
He wasn't bought for $5, was he? How much money did Merck give him?
All right, Merck gave $28.5 to his gubernatorial campaigns, but then on top of that, they gave another $377,000 to the Republican Governors Association during the time Perry was chairman and finance chair.
Okay, you got him.
So there was a lot more money than that $5,000.
So I can't be bought for $5, but they gave me $28.5, and they gave me $377 when I was head of the Republican government.
Right.
Wayne, why would he be so maladroit as to deny he couldn't be bought for $5, and then when it turns out he was given $28.5 on top of above that amount, and $377 he was head of the Republican governors from the same company.
In the preparation for that second debate, they went over this. What they expected was that Romney wasn't going to come at him. Romney's going to come at him on Social Security. Bachmann and maybe Santorum will come at him first on immigration. Then, with respect to this Merck deal, they thought that what Bachmann was going to do was talk as this Christian conservative, saying it's a bad thing because it's about sex and it violates these parental rights, this parental responsibility and so forth. They did not expect Bachmann to do what she did, which was quite artful, and that was to extend the debate not simply about the mandate and parental rights, but to crony capitalism. And I want to say one other thing about the connections here. The lobbyist, as Michael has written, the lobbyist in this case, Mike Toomey, and as you mentioned, is not just simply a lobbyist. He is someone who is a close associate and advisor to Rick Perry, was chief of staff at one point. Years ago, in one of the land deals, Toomey represented Rick Perry as part of the effort which helped make Rick Perry a millionaire. Moreover, Toomey and Dave Carney, who was Rick Perry's political guru, co-own an island together in Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire.
And just to amplify that, if I could amplify, Mike Toomey is now running the super PAC, Make Us Great Again, that is backing Perry's candidacy.
I'm not going to use words like bagman here yet until we know more about this, but it begins to look like an old-time situation here. Quickly, help the viewer now who's just learning this as we're presenting this news right now about his pay-to-play methods down there, if you will. What came first? Did this company Merck go out and these other enterprises go out and hire his chief of staff first? Did he get the campaign money from them first? Did he do the deed for them first in terms of creating this agency and all this other stuff and giving the women, young girls these shots? What was the sequence of events, Wayne?
Well, sequence of events, depending on which we're talking about. And you're talking about Bob Perry and the housing agency.
Let's talk about Merck and the shots.
Well, the shots. All right. The shots, basically what happened here was that Merck decided in about 2006 they were going to do a national campaign at several state legislatures to get people to do this via. And they went to Austin, came to Austin and said, who's the best guy? Who's the best connected guy? They said, it's Mike Toomey. He's close to the governor. They hired him. That's when it happened.
And then they got the shots deal.
And they
got the executive order.
What was really extraordinary about it, though, is that this was something that offended Perry's natural base, social conservative base. They were blindsided by this. He hadn't consulted with them. He hadn't consulted with the state legislature. And what's even more unusual about it is it would have made Texas the very first state in the country to mandate this vaccine, not something you would expect.
I had an uncle growing up named Uncle Bill, and when he heard about this kind of corruption, Wayne, up in Philly, and he heard about deal-making between big shots and people who want to influence the big shots, he had a standard line: Herb, it's like everything else. What the public in this country doesn't like to hear too often is that it's like everything else. Because after a while, when the public keeps hearing about corruption like this from the so-called clean guys, they really lose heart in our democracy. This is not a joke. And if people think that's the way it always is, it isn't always that way. There are a lot of clean politicians out there, and a pay to play is the way you like your government. Vote for this guy. Anyway, thank you, Mike Isikoff, a great investigative report. In fact, the best. Anyway, you and Bob Woodward. Anyway, Wayne Slater, thank you, sir. From the local point of view out there with the Dallas Morning News. Thank you very much.